Kieran Harriers Fans Podcast, episode 61, and we're doing Speaks With, and tonight's Darren, the South Shields fan. Hello, Darren. We're starting that off, and then at 8 o'clock we'll do the normal podcast. So, hello, Darren. Good evening.
Hello there.
Evening, Darren.
Darren, what happened yesterday, pal? We were all hoping that you're going to win yesterday, to be fair. You've let us down, mate, to be honest.
Well, you ever think of the perfect 11 men behind the ball performance? Well, that's what Bedford did, to be fair. I mentioned in the match review yesterday that their goalkeeper, he's on loan from Bournemouth, but I mentioned he was prime demos off for a day, so...
Was he really? Just for the day?
He was stopping absolutely everything.
They do that, these people. They do that.
They do.
I mean, a team parking the bus. John, have you ever heard of that in this league?
Well, do you know what? That sounds very similar to Rushall Olympic at home for us last year. I know we lost the league on the last day against Southport, but really we lost it against Rushall Olympic at home. Yeah. We were probably the worst team that I've ever seen us play in the league, but that they beat us. They just sat as deep as anything, soaked up everything until that one counter-attacking opportunity that they took advantage of and beat us 1-0. So I know exactly what you mean, Darren, and it's probably the most frustrating thing for any team.
We had it for many years in the NPL. It was every team that came to Shields just parked the bus every game, and that's why it was a struggle to get out of it.
There you go. So has that result yesterday changed the feeling with the fans?
For most of us, we've I'm sorry. Most of us actually, if you spoke to many Shields fans back in August, I mean, last season we finished 17th. I mean, you saw us when you came to our place last year and spanked us 5-0. Yeah. I mean, we knew last season was a bit of a transitional phase and all that. I mean, we had a lot of kids playing that day. I mean, the goalkeeper that got man of the match was a kid. It was one of our academy lads. So, but even with the new manager coming in, all the these new players coming from his contacts. I mean, I myself, I said top 10, 9th place, and I said I'd be doing cartwheels if we managed to sneak into 7th. So being second with a chance of winning the league on the final day, it's actually, well, not just for me, but for many of us, it's beyond our wildest expectations.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because you set the bar quite low, Darren, by the sounds of it, and you've just exceeded, and you're so close you can taste it, but it might not happen. I mean, you surely you'll be annoyed if it doesn't happen next week.
I've got the attitude of what will be will be. What will be will be. I mean, like I said, we're just happy to be in this position, and we'll just see how it goes on next Saturday.
I bet the chairman doesn't hold the same opinion as yourself, Darren. That's for sure. But going back to it, are you surprised by how well you've done, and who are the players that have stood out this season?
Well, people are going to say the obvious and say Paul Blackett. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying this as a Shields fan, but I think everyone's opinion that he is probably the best striker in the division. He's got 34 goals this season, 29 in the league, 87 goals in just under 3 seasons for us, which is phenomenal for us. I mean, we're hoping he stays so he can actually hit 100. But my pick would be our midfielder, Will Jenkins. I mean, he's a product of our academy system. He's probably the first academy product that's actually really gone on to make a name for himself in our first team. He's basically the first name on the team sheet in our midfield. Is an absolute, well, let's just say every midfield needs a shithouse in it.
Yes, they do. Oh my God, they do, John, don't they? They do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he is our shithouse midfielder, and we love him for it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm just going back to 34 goals that Blackett scored. John, when was it the actual whole team managed to score 34 goals? Was it February or March?
Well, last year we did all right, but obviously Ashley Hemming's got a fair few of those. But last year for us, one of the reasons that we ended up in a similar position to you are now is because that he was supported well throughout the team. And one name that I keep seeing that obviously, you know, I've seen him play when we've played you guys. And I think seems like a real kind of boost in force. Kedwin Scott just seems to be just popping up again and again with goals to kind of bolster Blackett, and also seems to be a bit of a talisman for the side as much as Blackett and Jenkins. I think you're in a really good position, Darren, that you've got 2 or 3 players there that are kind of the envy of the league in a way. I think that, you know, that they would walk into any side in this league, and I guess is there a worry that if you don't go up that you might lose one or all of them, or do you feel like you're in a position as a club where if you don't go up that you're thinking, okay, well, we go again, same team, and we know we're going to make it?
I think we can go again. I mean, it's only a couple months ago that Will Jenkins signed a new 2-year contract with us, and Blackett's still got at least 1 year to go on his deal. So if anyone is going to want to come in for them, and I know there's been scouts at our games watching at least those 2 players, they will have to, let's just say, have to pony up the cash.
Yeah. Listen, Darren, they will. The vultures will come, pal. This is what being a fan of a National League North team or a National League team is. It's all about getting to the end of the season, worrying for about 2 months until you get into pre-season that you're going to lose all your players. You generally do, and then you see what you've got that's left. So good luck with that one, pal. This is the highest you've been, right?
It's the highest we've been in our current incarnation of the club since we reformed in 1974. Yeah.
Wow. Was that 52 years? Is that 52 years ago?
52 years, yeah.
Do you remember what they were like before that, Wes? Or
what? Well, I'm too young to remember that. I mean, all I remember is stories of them being, well, in the late 60s, early 70s, they were founding members of the Northern Premier League, and they did manage to get the 3rd round of the FA Cup on one occasion. They played against QPR when they had likes of Terry Venables, Rodney Marsh, Jerry Francis in that team, Stan Bowles as well. My dad remembers that. He's at an age where he remembers that day out.
Yeah, sorry, Darren, I wasn't saying that about you. I was just making a joke because Wes is about 18 months older than me, so I was just trying to wind him up.
Am I? God.
Although to be fair, I've got considerably more grey than you, so you win on that score, Wes.
It is true, and I've kept kind of 60% of my hair, so that's all good. We'll take that.
I don't look back in my 40s, so.
Oh well, there you go, Darren. Are you well renowned around the South Shield supporters? Would they know you as such? Or
oh yeah. I mean, I don't say that in like a narcissistic tone or anything like that. I mean,
no, definitely do. You're on a podcast, mate. Say what you want.
I'm not like that. I mean, but you've probably seen I do have my own blog page where I do write about the club and mostly in recent weeks about my experiences of autism. But I don't think I've actually written anything about the club in about 4 months.
Is that because you were like, hang on, I might jinx it if I do write about them? Is that what you're saying?
Partly that. Yeah.
I get that.
But also time constraints as well.
Yeah, of course. Do you know what it is? It's a lot of time goes into it, especially in this podcast and stuff. Yeah, it is. It really is. You'd think it wouldn't be, but it's not as easy as just switching the telly on because we can't see hardly any of our games on the TV. So you've got to go and watch them yourself, you know, Darren. So yeah. So you've been given, well, not you, unless you were. You've been given 1,150 tickets, 1,150 tickets for the game to fill the south stand and the bit of the purple granite to the right hand side.
That's your seated section, isn't it?
That's seat section, yeah. So I'm hoping that you're going to sell all 1,150 and there'll be some hanger-ons in the home end. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, I've already got at least. I know a load of people have probably booked up half the Premier Inns in the local area. So
Oh, that's why I couldn't get. Oh, that's why. That's why the prices have all gone up. That's absolutely what it is. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Yeah. So I can tell you. I mean, if you're going to make a weekend of it, why not check out the West Midlands Safari Park as well?
a few will. A few will. Not me personally. I'll be at work that weekend. So.
Oh, so you're not going to see the game, Darren? What are you saying?
So I won't be there. I'm at work on the weekend. It came too soon for me.
Oh man, alive, Darren. Wow, there you go. That's upsetting for you, but Safari Park's pretty good. I used to work there, so that's pretty nice. It's, what's the night like thing? The night like in Kidderminster, John? You know more about it than me.
There's a few good bars for any South Shields fans that are visiting who like real ale. There's some really good real ale pubs. Some of which do some really good live music. There's a few decent bars and eateries in and around the town. So, look, I mean, it's certainly not as exciting as Newcastle. I think when we came up earlier this season when we played at your place, Darren.
Did you make a weekend of it when you came up with it? Like
we did. Well, we came up on the Friday night and stayed in it. Well, slightly different to weekends years gone by. We stayed in a spa hotel and had a sauna and steam and
cucumbers on the ice. And,
sat in the jacuzzi and then had a few beers in the Toon. But it's certainly doesn't compare to Newcastle. But I do think there's still quite a few good pubs in Kiddie. There's as I say some really good real ale pubs. There's some good restaurants, really good, a few really good Indians. So if people are coming down, there's plenty to do, plenty of places to go and get a pint, and plenty of places to eat as well. Yeah. And as Wes said, there's if you're here for the whole weekend, there's always the Safari Park.
I think those watching this now will be Googling them at Google Maps and now as we speak.
Well, I kind of think that you're never going to be down there again, are you? Unless we end up randomly playing each other in the FA Cup or something. So, what, take advantage of it. Life's about little wins. That is a big little win. Well, I'm sure the Safari Park costs a lot more than it did when I worked there in 2003. So, absolutely. Darren, were you there when we beat you 2-1 in December?
I was, yeah. I was.
Because, John, I just remember there were some guys who were very drunk must have been the hospitality.
Yeah.
And they were just singing and screaming. And it was like, really? Calm down, son. Calm down. Did you get that a lot there, Darren?
We do a bit, especially with the bigger followings.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. We were getting some abuse from the fans in the hospitality. On the whole, though, I've got to say, really, really enjoyed my trip there. I thought it was a really good example of a well set up non-league club and ground. I'd say 90% of the people we met were really lovely and welcoming, staff and fans alike, and really enjoyed the day. Not just because we won, but really enjoyed the place. It certainly helps. I thought it was a brilliant game. I thought it was two teams who were really looking to play football. Obviously, you've been doing that all season. Looking to just utilize possession, play attacking football, make those inroads, and really open up play, stretch the pitch wide. And I think we did a really good job of pressing as much as we possibly could to nullify that. And then also do that ourselves when we were on the ball, trying to stretch the play. And I thought that it was a really, really good game, really enjoyable, one of the better ones I've seen this season. And I think you guys and Merthyr are probably the teams that I've enjoyed playing against the most, or watching us play against. I didn't get any game time, unfortunately, but seeing you guys and Merthyr, two really good examples of good footballing teams at this level. And we get a lot of long ball merchants. We get a lot of people who are just out there to kick.
You've probably seen that we do like to play well, we like to play ball on the floor and all that. I mean, we do the odd pass now and again, but I will say as well, though, I mean, when you came up here, I mean, still so far, I mean, you're one of only 2 teams that have actually beaten us at home this season. I mean, like, I think we've beaten Macclesfield 4-1 at home. We've put 4 past Merthyr. We've put 4 past Scarborough. We've beaten Fylde home and away. I think we're only one of only 2 teams that have actually done that at Fylde this season. But we seem
or probably ever. You know, like they are a bit of a fortress, aren't they?
Yeah, but we do seem to play better against teams that come here to try and take us on at our own game. When you came up here, I mean, you added the physical side to it. At least how I felt. I mean, and we were. I will admit we were on an off day that day, but we can be better than that. And we've shown that in the months prior and going ahead. But you were. I was really impressed with you when you came up here.
Sometimes, Darren, you need to be brought down a peg or two. I think. I'm talking about any team here. I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about Harry's as well. It's you think you've cracked it all. You think you're gonna win it. Thou too shall pass, and then you've just lost. And it's like, what have we done here? But I remember that game because we had it was a clash of heads, wasn't it, John? And I can't remember who went off. Did Cooper go off? I think.
Yeah, it was Cooper.
And someone else went off. And we brought on, was it Davis who brought on, and Cam Candola, who scored the absolute screamer, Darren?
Yeah.
You must remember the screamer goal.
First game you got wasn't the first game for Ashley Hemmings coming back on his loan?
It was. That helped a lot as well.
It was Dagenham, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he came back from Dagenham, and that game against you guys was the start of a really good run for us. I think we won 5 on the bounce, and we didn't lose in, was it something like 10 or 11? And I think he was really instrumental in that. Unfortunately, not with goals, but in terms of in terms of the dynamism that he brought to the play, the attitude, the passing quality, being comfortable on the ball, and that bled into everyone else. And you know, I think if we hadn't have had him back on loan, we would not be in the position that we are now. I think we'd be looking more like 6th, 7th rather than having just solidified 3rd.
Yeah, 6th, 7th. You'd probably in that case not looking forward to a trip to Macclesfield or Chester or something like that.
Well, we aren't because we're not going there. But that's
if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, we. I don't know if you saw our result at Macclesfield.
Oh Lord,
we lost 5-1 there. We were there, and it was a bit of a depressing journey back down the M6. They're a dangerous team to play against because they haven't got one element that they do spectacularly well, but they just do a lot of things 7 out of 10. You know, their short range passing can be pretty damn good. Their physicality can be good. Their possession play, their pressing, their ability to shithouse, as you said, can be up there. And on their pitch as well, they just seem to be one of those teams that has just got the measure of a 4G pitch better than any other team in the league. So, you know, I always look at their results, and it's, you know, most weeks they're winning games 2-1, 3-1. But then sometimes you'll look and you'll go, you know, oh, bloody hell, Bedford beat them 3-0, you know, just randomly. So they're Manchester.
They lost at home to Spennymoor yesterday as well.
Yeah, exactly. We know. We really know. We really know. We're keeping an eye on that one.
Also, I think when we beat Macclesfield a week ago 4-1, and I think in that game we exposed what I think is their main weakness. They don't like pace. They don't like players that run at them, and we did a lot of that on that Tuesday night.
Well, Darren, you won't know this, but we actually, in George Walker, who plays on the right wing, we actually have the fastest mascot in the Worcestershire. So there you go. He went in there, they had a mascot race, and we just put him in for a laugh. So he was Harry the Harrier. And it started, and his head was about to come off. So it was onto his head, and everyone ran off, and then he just went, Usain Bolt, everyone. That was good. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we love that one. There's comments come in. Actually, Darren, the best thing about doing this live, mate, is we do get comments come in. You know, here's one from Phil Banner. Hopefully, we lose to you guys. I don't fancy you lot in the playoffs. But then, Phil, we probably end up playing in the playoffs, I think. So, yeah.
Probably will. Depends how good a favour Merthyr do us.
That's true.
I've seen Merthyr on a good day. They are a proper good team when they're on it.
They're allowed to be. They are.
It won't be easy for Filed. It will not be easy for them.
I know. Also, actually, take a pinch of salt. Phil says, "Can't believe you, Wes, making it an earlier start. Lucky on your defeat yesterday, Darren. Hopefully, I think that's Merthyr, or I don't know what that is. Merthyr win next week."
Yeah, we actually drew. We didn't lose.
Yeah, no, it was 93rd minute. Equalised.
Ethan Mann, 91st minute. Yeah.
Ethan Mann. Yeah. What a guy. Yeah.
Wes, can I just talk about this point a bit, because I've had some interesting conversations in the last couple of days around the game on Saturday. Now, quite a few years ago, gosh, must be, I don't know how many, I lose count in my old age, but a few years ago we had Bradford Park Avenue on the last day of the season, and if we lost to them, then we actually ended up playing them again. They'd hit a run of form, but had been largely dire for most of the season. So they just snuck into the playoffs. So if they beat us, they just snuck into the playoffs. And if not, then I think we would have played. Oh gosh, it was. It might have been a Chester or someone like that. 2017. Gary Martin said 2017. He might know who we might have played. And I was one of those people that was saying, do you know what? Losing actually wouldn't be the worst thing, because then we get to play them and they're the worst of the opposition. And then they beat us in the playoffs. So, that was a poison chalice. But there's been conversations around, do you know what? Actually, losing to you guys and you winning the league might actually be better for us, because one, obviously, it's a long way. And so we're not going to take as many fans as we would.
We would.
You would. If it's a playoff.
Not as many as we would to Filed. No way. No. I think if we go to Filed, we'd take a full allocation, which would probably be about 2,000. If we go to yours, I think
our away end only fits about 600.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But no, I think we simply wouldn't take as many people. I think you've got a better fan base is probably understatement of the century, because there's more atmosphere on the moon than there is at AFC Filed. And you guys really bring the noise, the atmosphere, the fun and the support. I think the other thing is, Filed will be a battling game where it's just going to be a physical closing down, maybe an element of time on the ball, just denying time rather than actually being able to play football. And I think if you guys hit your stride against us, you could probably score 3 or 4. As I'm saying, if we hit our stride, we might be able to score 3 or 4. Whereas I feel if Filed hit their stride, it's a 1 or 2-0 affair, or a 1 or 2-1 affair. It's certainly not going to be a game that's ever out of reach. So for me, I've got a bit of a toss up of, okay, well,
oh man, please,
if we win, then great. Okay, we go into the playoffs with momentum. If we lose and Filed have a bad result, do you know what? I'd probably rather have the prospect of Filed in the playoffs than you guys.
There is one other factor as well. Filed have lost both their main front men for the rest of the season to injury. Danny Ormerod and Jonas Tabassi, they're both injured.
I will smash them.
Ormerod's had an incredible season.
He has,
And without him, they wouldn't be in the position they're in. And I guess it's slightly the same as Blackett for you, but I do also feel like you've got a bit more depth in terms of scorers on the pitch than they have.
Kevin Scott, Sonny Finch, Caden Kelly. Will Jenkins is on double figures as well this season.
Yeah.
So, can I just wrap this love affair up, because we're going to finish in a few minutes, right? Darren, it's been amazing to have you on. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that. Let's look at the table for the last time then. So, filed above South Shields. We were hoping it was going to be 97 each with like a goal difference, a couple of goal difference. You've got us, Macclesfield, Scarborough. How they've made it, I don't know. Chester, Buxton, Merthyr, and Darlington can all get into the playoffs. Is that correct?
Spennymoor can, but they need multiple snookers.
Yes, they do. They need an awful lot of goals. They need an awful lot, like a 15-0 would be quite nice.
Or a multi-ball system.
Yeah, that would also works. Also works as well. There you go. So yeah. So anyway, before we go and say goodbye, Darren, just to let you know, if you guys are coming and you want some beers before the game, will the social club be open, John? So I won't get any hammers on.
Yeah, social club. The designated away pub is called the Railway Bell, which is right by the train station. I don't imagine many people, unless they're staying over, will be coming on the train because they won't be able to get back. But if anyone is coming down on the train, the Railway Bell is right opposite there, which is the designated away pub. But you won't have a problem being welcomed in many of the local pubs. And yeah, I hope that all of you, you got. I know obviously you said you're working, Darren, but I hope that every South Shields fan enjoys the day. I think we really value fans in this league that come down to our place and make the most of it, and don't cause any trouble, which I don't think we'll have.
You won't get any trouble from us. I guarantee that.
So all the best. All the best for the game and either the title celebrations or the playoffs. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to chat to you tonight and to see you guys play football this season.
Yeah.
And also, Darren, if you go and they've got it on, which I'm sure they will do, have the cottage pie.
Recommend
honestly,
the cottage pie to.
That was recommended by the Padded Seat came to Harriers last game at home. They gave us, what did they give us, like 4 out of 5 or something? But they stopped eating their food. They went downstairs. They went and got a cottage pie, and they said it was 5 out of 5. So there you go. And there you go, Darren. Listen, mate, it's been absolutely lovely to have you on, pal. I hope everyone this was live, and it will be live till 9ish. But it'll also be uploaded to YouTube straight after, Darren. So, there you go. Yeah, so thank you so much, pal.
Yeah, thank you very much as well. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll see you up here for the playoff final.
I have to get you back on, I think. That's okay. We'll definitely be in the playoff final. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, whatever. So.
One final thought. Phil Banner's just said, fingers crossed we see you in the National League next season. And do you know what? Let's hope that happens. The permutations, the stars align, and we're both in the National League next season. Yeah. So I'll drink to that.
Yeah, we'd love it. We'd love it just to get a couple of games against Gateshead. A little derby like that would be amazing for us.
Yeah, so the fact they're even still in the National League is fair play to them.
Yeah. We're thrilled for them to do what they did. Absolutely thrilled for them.
Yeah, well done, Darren. Thank you so much, pal. And we'll catch you again soon. Enjoy watching the recording. And thank you so much, everyone else, for joining us as well.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That was Darren. What a lovely man. What a lovely guy.
An absolutely thoroughly nice bloke. I'm going to give his blog a read later because he was talking about not only being a South Shields fan, but his experiences as an autistic football fan. And as you know, Wes, my son is an autistic football fan. And I, having travelled around the country with him to various games, I think that where we are now in terms of even Dan, even Nick, where we are now in terms of provision for fans with additional needs, especially autism, is way beyond where we were when we were young. But there's still a long way to go, and I'm really interested in people's perspectives as autistic football fans and how they find things. There's a lot of clubs now that are offering sensory rooms as easy entry for fans with autism into the game, and those kind of things. And so I'll give his blog a read, and hopefully that's the kind of thing that can trickle down to the National League North.
And there we go. Kieran Harriers fans podcast. No, we've already done that bit. Where am I on my script? Let's have a look. Oh yeah, welcome to the Kieran Donnelly fans podcast, episode 61. Oh, when we chat about our undying love for a lone player who needs to be signed on a 5-year deal before Brackley try to steal him. Mr. Donnelly, we know you're watching. Good evening, Mr. Donnelly. Maybe you can help us. Just tell him that, tell him that we've got a song for him, man. We've got a song for him. He's in your head. Do you want to finish off, John? I mean,
Donnelly.
Hey, there you go. And there, look at that. What I love about this photo, it's brilliant. He's so excited. Everyone's so excited. But these two guys in the front there, they're just chatting about beers. What are they even doing?
They are actually podcast listeners, Wes. So they were probably saying, I can't wait to hear the goal description of the podcast tomorrow.
Absolutely, it was amazing. It was amazing. As normal, the goals are now. The Leamington is, but I haven't got it. So there you go. So it was another 6-point week for Harriers. Should I Kieran up now? I'll take that. Another 6-point week for Harriers, who are 2 victories away from a return to the National League. But where's the 3 games? But we don't need to win one of them. So there you go. So we have to win 2 playoff games to be back in the National League. It's very exciting, isn't it? It's very exciting. No one was at the Radcliffe game on Tuesday. That feels like a very long time ago now. Does anyone else get that? Anyone else get that feeling? Long time ago. But yesterday, Walker came on after a terrible first half. Absolute dreadful first half. And he basically, his tactical change that did change the game a little bit. John, you were there with me, well, for about 10 minutes. John, what do you make of the game, man?
Always lovely to see you, Wes. We didn't get off to well, actually, I was going to say we didn't get off to a great start. That's not the truth.
No.
The first 5 to 10 minutes, we started off fast-paced and looked like we were looking to impose ourselves on the game.
Yeah.
Few errors in midfield. And then suddenly it seemed like we just ran out of juice and put battery saver on. And we started to do something that I hadn't seen us do before this season, which is stand off and watch them seemingly stroll through midfield, play those easy passes without making the attempt to intercept. And it was really worrying. And I actually think that we could have been in a much worse position at halftime. I think there was an element of luck there that we weren't. I'm glad we weren't, because after we after we came out of the tunnel, we looked like we'd had a rocket.
Absolutely.
I think when we've got it was Theo Street's last game. 16-year-old Theo Street, his last game. I think by virtue of it being his last game, was really fired up for it. Yeah. But we've played against Theo Street. I've probably seen Harriers play teams with Theo Street in maybe 10, 15 times. And I've never seen him have the kind of luck that he had against us yesterday in terms of the amount of first balls won, second balls won, the amount of tackles that he ended up on the right side of. Yeah. And it was a real measure for how we just weren't at the races for a large portion of that first half.
No.
And players that we've come to know as our Mr. Dependables, namely Obi and Davis, just weren't getting in the game like they have been. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've seen Obi muscled off the ball this season, and yet it happened 3 or 4 times in the first half. And similarly with Davis, you expect him to be in those areas where teams are likely to play those 10-yard passes through the centre of midfield, and he just wasn't getting there. He wasn't putting the foot in the way that he has been. But I'm very happy to say that after half time, Adam either given them some go-go juice or spoken to them and made some changes. That the performances all round were a lot better second half.
Absolutely were. Dan, Nick, did you listen on the radio at all? I know, Nick, you couldn't make it.
Yeah,
Dan was bored with his loft.
Do you know what? I've just finished literally like 10 minutes ago. Me and my dad, I have never hurt like I am hurting right now, but that's another story. It was hard work.
Wow.
Yeah, I did listen on the radio.
Okay.
Yeah. I did listen on the radio, and Chris Williams, I think, made some really good observations, actually. He was talking about the difference between the second half and the first half, and he said bringing on Walker gave us width, which was a real key factor. I think there was a lot of sort of trying to go down the middle with in that first half through Braden Johnson. Yeah. Also, the pitch was apparently dry as a bone. They hadn't watered it in the last kind of 3 weeks, apparently, and I do wonder as well if that was a bit of a ploy to stop us playing the slick football that we would normally play. It makes players sort of think about their first touch a bit more, perhaps want a bit more time with that first touch. And I think also from the kind of the gist I got off the radio is we were in that first half reverting a lot to the long ball and just trying to sort of hit it and hope that sort of Donnelly's going to run onto it. I mean, you guys were there. You may have seen a different game to that. But certainly the second half came bringing on old Georgie Walker, made a massive difference. And I think it was a lot to do with the width. There is a question I kind of want to put to you guys who were at the game, and that is Reece Lovett. There was a lot of talk on the radio about him sort of seeming to not want to come for the ball, not want to come off his line much. And was that the reason that Obi and the rest of the back line was struggling because they weren't having the backup in the same way that they would have had with Dibble, and the way that Reece has played over the last few weeks as that kind of sweeper keeper? It seemed to not be in the game yesterday, and certainly the first goal sounded like he didn't come for a ball that probably should have done. But like I say, you guys were there, so what were your observations on that?
The second goal, John, the second goal was a free kick, and it was awful to watch because he thought the ball was going. Imagine the wall's there, and he thought from there the ball was going to go round like that, but it didn't. The ball went that way, and he was going that way, and then he got confused and he kind of touched it, but then it just went in, and it was out of Bruce Grobbelaar's book of horror shows, I would have thought. But I spoke to Reece about it after the game because the car park, I was so glad to never go there again because the car park's ridiculous. There's literally one road to get in and out, and it's just terrible. But I spoke to him, I saw him, and I was like, "You're right," and he just looked so sad. And I said, "What happened with the goal, with the free kick?" And he was like, "Listen, that was my bad." And I just said to him, I said, "Listen, right, that's it. It's gone now. Nothing you can do right now will change what happened. So you just got to forget about it and just carry on and just keep going. You're good enough being the team, and please just keep on going." He seemed happy with that. So there you go. But sure, you can't go back and change it, can you? So, it was a horror show. You'll see it on the highlights when they come out.
They are out now. Highlights.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I was stood behind the goal yesterday, and the one thing that you can't criticise Reece Lovett for is his encouragement of the team, his desire, and his effort. I think those are all things that he has in bucket loads. I think there are attributes that unfortunately he doesn't have in his game at the moment that are key in this league. I don't think that he dominates his box enough. I don't think that he's confident in claiming enough. I think that his anticipation, decision making just isn't really there. And I think, as we saw at Oxford, sometimes he just makes calls confidently that are just the wrong calls. And that's bound to have a knock on someone's confidence. I don't think that he's way off the standard, but I certainly don't think that he is
of the standard
of the standard
of Dibble.
Of the standard, not only of the standard of Dibble, but of the standard of a keeper that is going into a playoff run to get promoted out of this league.
Which is a point. That's a point I wanted to make, actually. So, evening, everybody.
Hi, Nick.
You wouldn't be surprised to know that I've got a bit of a stat on the goalkeeper situation that I've just been working out whilst you were all nattering away. Out of 7 games that Lovett's played, no clean sheets. Dibble's kept 18 in 38. So if you just were going purely off data, which we know Adam Murray likes to do, you would suggest that Dibble, when fit, is the number 1/21 jersey when he is fit. And if that is South Shields, great. I think it would be nice to have him in for a game before going into a playoff game. I know he's experienced, so it's not like the end of the world either way. But I think it would be nice to have him fit for South Shields. I know he's back training. But that's a pretty interesting stat. Although the results have been great. We've scored more goals across those games to win games, right? Because we've not kept clean sheets. But yeah, Dibble's obviously, that clean sheet thing with him is just insane.
So there's a point actually by Phil Banner, and at the last, what was the last home game? Was it?
I was there, Hereford.
No, it wasn't Hereford, was it? There was one more.
What's that? Sorry.
What was the last? Kings Lynn. Yeah, it was the Kings Lynn game. So the point that Phil's just made, he's a great team player with his speaking and communication is superb. Absolutely bang on with that. And it was a point I wanted to make last week, and just never kind of had the space for it. But he is a superb communicator, is Reece. And that's something I was very, very aware of in that game, that you could see him commanding his back line, moving people into position, making people aware of, players on left shoulder, right shoulder, turn in, turn out. I could hear him all the time talking away, which is, in my opinion, that's a huge part of a goalkeeper's game. So there are definitely positives there. And so Phil, I think you're absolutely bang on with your comment.
I think it just sorry, Dan. I think it just shows with someone like Dibble. Like, we've obviously had, on this podcast throughout the season, there's been, could we do better? Is he good enough? There have been those question marks across the fan base. And I think, to be fair to Lovett, he's had to step into massive shoes. He has done an overall decent job. Goalkeeping isn't purely about keeping clean sheets, and we've maybe had to be a bit more expansive as we've gone for third place, that we've maybe been a little bit more open. I don't know, but I think it does highlight that at this level Christian Dibble really does seem to be a step above, because Lovett is coming from Boston. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Who are, of course, National League, and whilst he's been fantastic for us, I still think there is still a slight level above that Dibble generally offers us. And I do think that him coming in has sort of highlighted that, without Lovett having had a bad spell with us. Far from it. I don't want that to be the message, because I think he's done well. But I think it just shows, in some ways, sometimes the best games you play are the games you don't play. And I think Dibble has been the beneficiary of that over the course of his injury. Which isn't a surprise to probably most of us on this panel who rate him highly.
I like Dibble. I just like him. He's just nice and friendly, and
he is a great guy as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan. I just want to say I'm still utterly bemused that some people don't think he's good enough. And I just you watch him week. Yeah. There are people. I've spoken to people this season.
Same.
That have said he's not good enough. We need to replace him. And I just think that I can name maybe 4, 5 keepers in my 35 years of supporting Harriers that would even come close
If Freddie Barber ain't up there, John, I don't want this conversation.
Well, yeah, Freddie Barber, I would have been more impressed if he played with the mask on.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I think when you look at what he does, and the aspects of his game, just everything, and where he was weak or weaker was his distribution from kicking, and that for me has improved so much this season. I struggle really to find that much fault with him. Okay, does he have the occasional howler like Marine coming for something he shouldn't have come for?
Definitely does.
Of course. But
look at Donnelly today for Man City, though.
Well, yeah.
Donnelly, in my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in world football. And he makes a howler today. With that. You say that, but that's the life of a keeper. He makes that mistake. Because a guy, he's not that great with his feet. He's not this, he's not that. Second half, it's one apiece. And he makes a really good double save. One big spread. Then it looks like he's second best to going back the second one, and he gets really brave, makes another save, and they don't concede at one apiece. Like most of the goalkeepers, that even at that level, that doesn't happen. So you're gonna get mistakes, aren't you, at every level?
It's great for the up and coming keepers as well to be working with the likes of Dibble. You think of Bish training kind of daily with Dibs, and also there's another youngster up and coming that I've become aware of in the Harriers ranks who looks like he's going to be an absolute superstar. I think her name's Sienna. I think it is. She looks like an absolute superstar. So
bit too young at the moment, though. Bit too young at the moment for that spot. But I was going to say something on the Dibble thing. Then I've just completely forgot what it was going to be. No.
If you remember it, Nick, don't worry. Because I want to talk about half time. Because at so I like to do 3 videos now. I like to do a before match video, a halftime video, and a full-time video. John generally does them.
I know where this is going.
So at halftime, my video basically said, "Areas are rubbish. This is terrible." The most entertaining thing about the first half was the kids trying to get in, screaming at the security guards. Right before you say it, Dan, it was horrible. There were these kids outside, and they were screaming because they weren't going to let them in. And I kept listening to what was happening. And they were like, "Oh, let us in, blah, blah," and all this. And they kept going on 20 minutes. And then they got more aggressive. "Let us in, you pedo, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, "Oh, mate, you're not going to do it." I was literally going to go out and see what was going on because apparently I can fix everything. But I was going to see if they've got tickets and see what the problem was, that kind of thing. And the problem was they'd had a fight in town, whatever bar it was, had called them and said, "Listen, don't let these kids in because they're hooligans and whatever." And that was it. That was the reason. One of them had a big shiner, which is nice. Always good. And yeah, so I put that on, and then I get a message from Dan Mees. What did it say, Dan?
So I'm listening away to the game, and it's half time, and I'm feeling frustrated, and clearly so was Chris Williams. And he said that while at half time he was looking at socials, and it seems that the fans are feeling as frustrated as we are, because on the socials there was a video where the person recording it basically said the most entertaining thing about the first half was the kids trying to squeeze their way in through security. So clearly, there's a bit of fame there, Wes. You're clearly being watched by the masses, and it was picked up, Hereford and Worcester.
I'm going to tell you something that I did actually before the game, because it was segregated, and I went in the normal bit that you would have gone in last season, and then I got in. They let me in because I'm a scooter, and they were like, "Oh yeah, but you can't be here." I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Because you're up there." And I was like, "Is it segregated?" They're like, yeah. I was like, "Okay, fine." So as I was driving up, I saw Matt and Chris, and I just shouted. Well, I didn't shout. I just said, "Guys, listen, your commentary on Tuesday night was absolutely spot on, and Matt, your opinions as well were brilliant." And Matt Paddock didn't know what to do with himself. He's like, "Oh, thank you so much, thank you." And I thought, why aren't we pleasing these? Why aren't we, bigging these people up and saying thank you so much for? I know they get paid for it, and that's great, but they do it entertaining ways, don't they? And they make it fun, or they make it, boring or whatever. But I think we should do that kind of thing. So maybe that's what's maybe that's caused him to mention that message. But yeah, I just thought the kids getting in, they're fighting the hooligans. I thought no. And that was it. That was a halftime message, and then of course we score, and then the pyro comes out as well. John, that was just ridiculous. When one single little pyro looked terrible.
Now,
Awful.
Wes, we've spoken about this before, and
yeah, I know.
Listen, you this is why you've asked me the question, because we have different views on this, and I'm sure it will surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
That as long as pyros are used in a way that doesn't harm anyone, I think that they're a fantastic part of football atmosphere. I know not many people agree with me, but that is my standpoint. I've seen it used brilliantly all around the country, and from opposition fans that have European games I've been to where they've got a wall of 40, 50 pyros with no injuries, no harm, and it adds to the atmosphere massively. But
yes,
where that changes is when the pyros are thrown on the pitch. That for me is just ridiculous. And if it's done in an organised way where they're disposed of safely, which most clubs do around the world, I think it's a brilliant part of football atmosphere. But to throw a pyro on the pitch, it's needless. To sound like Alan Partridge, vandalism. It is, because you're essentially you're damaging someone else's pitch. We wouldn't want it done to our pitch.
No,
and I just think there's no need for it. But my opinion is I like it. I know that 90% of people don't. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, we'll get fined, we'll get points deduction." We won't. Don't worry about that. That won't happen. There are fines in extreme circumstances. There aren't points deductions because the National League like their money too much. And there really is no need to ever throw one on the pitch, and it halts the game. It delays everyone getting home, especially when you've got a car park you can't get out of for 45 minutes.
Yeah,
and
the players,
and we wouldn't want it done to our pitch, so let's not do it to anyone else's.
Phil, me and John are not the same person. Although I don't mind the pyro necessarily from to see it. But I'm kind of in agreement with some of the comments, which is, I don't know, when it's close to me, I'm like struggling to breathe, but it just sort of, I don't know what it is. It just sets off like a panic in me a little bit, and I'm like, it's fine, but I like the look of it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
I get what you're saying about the atmosphere, though. It definitely adds to it. And if I'm sat like Telford, for example, I think there was like a black one, and I was in the seating bit with my little one, and I was like, it definitely adds to it. We've been at Telford before, and it's been out there, and I'm like, yeah, brilliant. But if I was in there in the mix, I remember it happening the once at Hereford, and it was like so close to me. I was like, oh, this is sort of horrible. But I get the
it's
vibe.
Like suffocating. It's like
a little bit, yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, they look amazing in the San Siro. Don't get me wrong, but Leamington feels a little step too far.
Do you know what? This sums it all up, right? The referee ran over to it, and he looked down at it and went. And he was looking for the security to come over. The security weren't even bothered; they weren't even there. So he was just looking at it. And the keeper walked over and looked at it, and then the security guy eventually came over, and rather than putting it in in the sand bucket, just picked it up and walked off with it. And I was like, whoa, this is pointless. You've had 5 minutes onto the game. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's like they don't remember what happened, the start of the season. We kept conceding in like the 121st minute and whatever. It's like, don't add time on that doesn't need to be added on. So, yeah, Pyro. I love that chat, John. That was excellent. Thanks, man.
That feels like a long time ago now, doesn't it? Conceding in the last minute, and how many? What was that? 3 games on the bounce. We did that. 4 games on the bounce. Like this season, when you look back at it, and maybe we're allowed to be reflective now. We've secured 3rd place, but this season really has been ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster, like probably no other season I really remember with Harriers. When you think back to where we were in October and November to where we are now.
We're going to say that, Dan, until the last podcast that we do.
Are you going to play Ronan Keating, Life is a Roller Coaster now, Wes? Or are you
I'm saving it, man. I'm going to get my ukulele out and play it in front of everyone. Then we'll just all hold hands and cry and that kind of thing.
Yesterday was a roller coaster, Dan. Yesterday was a roller coaster. I know you're saying about the season. Yesterday was a roller coaster. We went from. I was talking to my friend Sean next to me, who is a podcast listener, I'm sure he'll appreciate the shout out. And we were talking about, okay, well, what do we do in the semi final? What do we do? What do we do Saturday? What do we do in the semi final? Who do you think will start in the semi final? What do we Saturday? Do we rest players? Do we go for it? And then they scored again, and then we were like, oh my god, are we going to be at Chester, or are we going to be playing Chester or Macclesfield at home? So it gets to you throughout the game.
It does.
You end up going from highs to lows during the course of 90 minutes. But the whole season obviously has been highs or lows.
Second half, we had a corner came in. Obi finally won a header, and it found its way to Owen Evans, who smashed in the back of the net. Thanks very much. That's 2-1. Then they scored, and then Kieran Donnelly goes on this amazing run, and it was incredible, and we just all ended up like this in the corner. Now you can see me in this photo. I've got a red hat on. I don't know if you can see the red hat. I'm literally right there.
Is this a new version of Where's Wally?
Yes, it is. Where's Wesley? Where's Wesley? Here I am.
Where's Wesley?
Yeah, so I'm right in there. I'm living the dream. And then Evans, you can see Owen Evans, he literally did that. And I put my arms, I went, all right. And he grabbed me, and we had a big, lovely hug. In that moment, I said, can we move in together? But he didn't answer, so that was weird. But then, so then that happens. And it's like, wow. It's like, we've done it. This is it, guys. This is it. You've literally just done everything you can. And it's been amazing. And if you actually know, it was Kieran Donnelly who did it all. So, Mr. Donnelly, if you could please just get your son to sign the contract, I'm sure he's on the way. That'd be incredible, mate, to be honest with you.
So,
we're 3-2.
Which is the better goal, Charlie Cooper or Kieran Donnelly?
Kieran Donnelly all day, every day. That's probably one of the that's the best. I think that overtakes Sammy Austin's goal against Gloucester on the
that Sam Austin goal at Gloucester was insane. I mean, to be fair,
No.
I wasn't at the game yesterday. I've seen the goal. But
he literally got it from our penalty box and then beat everyone and then screamed it in left foot. He's right foot.
It was a great goal.
I would argue he didn't have anyone to beat Wes, because he was too on goal when he picked it up.
But, it was too fast. It was too fast.
The Austin one was insane, though. The Austin one was insane.
Yeah, it was insane. And Dan, you'll love this, Dan. The moment it went in, my face is a bit like, I think I had a rectal prolapse, mate, to be honest with that. Yeah. Wow. No, it was just,
it happens.
It does, and it really did that day. So that was lovely stuff. So
is he the difference, guys? Is Donnelly going to be the difference? Is he? I said
the Buxton game when we signed him. I said after the game, I said, listen, he's what we've been looking for. He's the magic key we've been looking for, and honestly, he's just superb. I don't think he's going to stay though. I just have a feeling that he won't stay. Stay.
It's that classic, isn't it? Never fall in love with a lone player, but we'd be absolutely screwed if we didn't fall in love with one this season, because most of them are lone players. But yeah, he's just got that tenacity about him that fans just love and relate to, just off the bat, and the fact that he's now got consistent goals, scoring different types of goals as well. He scores headers, he scores left foot, right foot. Let's hope that he can be the one that fires us up, and then it does pretty much just have to be a full-on sort of onslaught from Dean Holdsworth and co to just try and get him to get him signed up, whatever division we are in. It feels like the fans have got that affinity with him. He's proven what he can do. Let's just hope that that's not enough for Boston to put pen to paper with him again, or another club, because we've seen this with a different position, totally get that, totally different player, but with Carl Morrison last season and the season before, where he was a massive difference, albeit in a very different way, playing centre half. And I think everybody thought he'll sign with us. I know he didn't go up, and maybe he would have signed with us had we have gone up, but there's always that bitter taste that he never has. And I just hope we don't have that repeated story with Donnelly, and we just, within reason, go and make it happen, basically, and potentially look at a bit more of a quality over quantity approach versus where we've had this season, where even in pre-season, Adam was saying, look, I want players that can play 2, 3, 4 different positions well. That's clearly a good approach, but I do also think there is something about having some players who are just top players in their position, and that's what they do. And obviously Donnelly can play left wing or up front, but I'd like us to, whether it be him or an equivalent of him, go and really, to quote Phil Brown, lay a marker down and go and sign one of these players that we know can take us forward.
As you just said,
yeah. Go on,
sorry, Wes. Just because you said putting pen to paper, Nick, it's just it's a nice little segue to the other man in the photo there, not the ref. Riley Reynolds has obviously signed a new 2-year contract with Notts County. Delighted for him. I think
same.
That's great for him. But do we think that he will be in a Kidderminster Harriers shirt next season? Because he signed for Notts County for 2 years, that there's 3 options there. Either he plays for County, he goes out on loan, or they've done it to try and demand a fee for him. So what do you guys
Interesting.
think? Do you think he'll be in a Harriers shirt next season or not?
Go on,
sorry,
Wes, go on.
Dan, I think because he did the what do they call it? He did the interview afterwards, because the interview was basically, this is going to be a last game, couple of games for Harriers. Would you remember it? And blah blah, and all that kind of thing. And they were egging it up, and then building the story, if you will. And I just think maybe if we go up, or when we go up, I think Riley may. I mean, because it's a different league altogether in the conference, absolutely, the National League. So I think maybe that's the only reason he would come back. I don't think he can learn any more from this league by coming back again. So that's my thoughts. Dan, what about you, mate?
Well, I was going to say I've had a few people say to me now that they think this is Northampton trying to get a fee for him. He's clearly,
you mean Notts County?
Notts County, sorry, yes, Notts County. Sorry, I think I have to agree. I think it could well be a case of them saying it's time to get a deal from someone for this player. Is he ready for Notts County level?
This is why I love this podcast, because everyone's got a different opinion.
Different opinions, exactly.
On the same thing. Not always. Sometimes we are aligned. I think if Notts County are in League 2, Riley Reynolds is a squad player for Notts County and will be on the bench and getting small amounts of minutes in a similar way that Maz Koya has this season. I think if you look at the stats, I think Riley now is in double figures on goals from a midfielder in the National League North. I think they had high hopes for him when they loaned him to us last season. He was very highly regarded when we secured his services on loan. I think he's only really enhanced his reputation with his performances at Harriers, across both spells. And he is still crazy young. Is he like 19, 20?
No, I think
so I don't see it as a ploy to try and get a fee for him. I think if Notts County are in League 2, Riley Reynolds is in the matchday squad at County next season. I think where we have a chance of keeping Riley Reynolds is if County get promoted to League 1. I do think that would be too much of a jump even as a squad player for someone like Riley. And I think they would likely look to loan him to, again, potentially a lower level League 2 or maybe National League side. I agree with Wes. I think he's proven that he can perform at this level. And I think whatever league Notts County are in, they're going to want him to step up if he goes out on loan. Now that, of course, could be ourselves if we do get promoted and Notts County get promoted. That's my personal opinion. But I think, if County stay in League 2, I think it'll be the last time we see Riley Reynolds this season. If they get promoted and so do we, hey, who knows? Maybe he'll be back for a third spell.
Also got to remember that his agent is Jimmy O'Connor.
Exactly. So you do feel we might have a slight
surely that's going to help a little bit.
But we have to be at the right level for him.
I totally agree. So we won 3-2. Paul Bayliss saying Notts will loan him to NL side minimum now. We know what we have to do. It's true. It's so true.
I love that idea. I love that Riley Reynolds is the trophy that we could get at the end of this.
You would
hold him aloft into the Harriers' arms And he'd be like Mike Bassett at the end of the film where he gets off the plane. He's like 4 more years. Like, we'd have that with Riley Reynolds.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. And then what we're doing that, we're holding him up as Kieran Donnelly's signed for Brackley. Is that what we're doing? Yeah. Don't say that, Wes. Don't say that. Come on now. That won't happen. Come on, Mr. Donnelly. You've got this. You've got the power to do this, my friend. Come on.
Just quickly on that, Wes, though. Sorry, Dan. Brackley only signed our players when they got to the National League, really. That they had the divisional advantage over us last season. I think that's what probably tilted the balance on Zach and Kyle Morrison. I think if we'd have also got promoted and those two players were courted by us and Brackley, maybe they still would have gone because of the financials that maybe Brackley are able to offer. But you'd like to think that was the main reason they left for Brackley. Not we weren't at the same level ultimately, were we, last season? I'd be devastated if we're losing out on someone like Donnelly to Brackley. If we're both at the same level, that would be really upsetting.
I mean, there's talk about a what is it? What's the crowdfunding thing? What's that called? The
crowdfunding, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody know why we don't do it every season? Because like pretty much every other team, like Chester, Darlow, it's like a big thing for them. Like, is there something where it's like frowned upon, or the club just doesn't like it for a certain reason? I've got no idea why we wouldn't sort of get behind it, as I know a lot of clubs at our level do it massively. Why are Harriers sort of not really at the forefront of that sort of?
What you mean, getting more money from supporters? Is that what you mean?
Well, just the crowdfunding thing. I've never really seen in recent times that be a Harriers thing, and I'm not. It's not. I genuinely don't know the answer. It's not a loaded question. I don't know the reason why. Is it something we're against as a club? Does anybody know?
Maybe we've never tried it. I don't know. Phil Banner just said, "What's Jimmy O'Connor up to now?" I don't know if you heard what I was just saying there, Jimmy. Phil, but Jimmy O'Connor, he didn't go with Russ Penn to Hales Owen. He went. He was an agent. So there you go. So he's now a football agent, which is lovely stuff. There you go. So any more to talk about for the game yesterday, John? Any thoughts?
It was so up and down. It was so up and down. I think there was we saw the best of some players. Unfortunately, we also saw the worst of some players. I think that Adam Murray put a lot of faith in George Walker, bringing him on, and essentially saying, go and change the game. I thought George Walker did well what George Walker does best. He hit the byline. He stretched the play. There were a couple of moments still, and I know this is a recurring theme where his decision making just was not there. But we're talking. Okay, well, he's cut inside to try and beat a defender, and he's not seen that someone's tracked back, and he's running into trouble. Whereas if he'd have hit the line for 5 more yards and crossed it in, that would have been a better choice. But that's becoming less and less, and his development is rapid. And he's a huge part of the team now.
He really is.
Obviously, goalkeeper-wise, I believe Dibble will probably be back in sticks on Saturday. So, I think Reece Lovett's probably done his best. Obi recovered well from his worst half in a Harrier shirt. But the main thing for me from yesterday was the togetherness of the squad, the mentality to keep going despite several setbacks, and the celebrations at the end at securing 3rd place. And people were shouting next to me. I won't name them. You're playing like shite. Want of a better word. I was trying to think of a better word. Really. No. How much do you want it? Do you want this? Do you want 3rd place? How much do you want it? And I think we proved yesterday as a team that we absolutely damn well do want it, and that's really reassuring going into the playoffs.
Damn well do. something funny. I forgot what it was. About George Walker. So when I was sat in the car park on my scooter, the players were coming out in dribs and drabs, and I was like, "Have a photo." And I felt like a fanboy, obviously. George Walker was there. I said, "George." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Listen, mate. You know you're fast, yeah?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I was fast as well." And his face was like, "What are you talking about, mate?" I said, "Listen, I was the fastest 8-year-old in the Wild Forest, pal, over 200 meters. Were you?" And he was like, "I was fast." I was like, "Yeah, all right, you've won." So anyway, he got on the bus, and then Donnelly went on the bus, and then got off the bus to go to the pub. And I thought, oh, if we don't sign him, if we don't get him and pay for him, come on now. There's a real player there. There's a real player. It's coming to Harriers Fans Podcast. It is no, it's not. Sorry, it's no. I've got that all right. It's Kieran Donnelly's Fans Podcast, episode 61 tonight. Guys, if you will let me have a moan, I'd love to have a moan if that's okay. It's about the state of affairs and social media and stuff. So, I got home last night. I was buzzing, as you would have been, with the last minute winner or whatever. And there was a Macclesfield fan who I've been chatting with on X, and there was a couple of them. And the guy had said, "We've got 3 easy games. We're going to win them all. We're going to come third." Then I simply just retweeted his message and then put 3 smiley faces, laughter faces, because obviously they hadn't. And then someone, next thing I know, someone's giving me abuse on X, which is whatever. Someone who didn't really know what was going on about either. They just seen something for, I'm going to go to someone for this and that kind of thing. And it was ridiculous. To be honest, it just annoyed and upset me a little bit because should know better. So I just lost it. Had a go at him. You shouldn't do that, should you, John? You shouldn't go to that. But then I just thought,
someone having a go at you online.
Yeah, someone's having a go at me online again.
I was going to say, mate, that's becoming a running theme now.
Yes, exactly. But this is the second time. But this thing wasn't even about that. It was just about the smiley faces. He just took it on, and then the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you've got a platform. Why don't you use it?" And then I just lost it. I absolutely lost it. Well, use it for what? We do pretty good actually on a Sunday night. Thanks. So why do people feel the need to comment on things when they have nothing to do with that thing? Why don't they just walk on by? Why don't they just keep on scrolling? I don't get it. It was a Harriers fan. I'm not going to mention the name, but I blocked them from the X account. So yeah, if you guys have got any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear your thoughts, please, because that was a bit of a struggle last night, to be honest.
I mean, it's a rubbish thing to have to go through. I just find online is such a toxic place at the moment, and do you know one of the worst things that happened to me? It's not football related, but it was during COVID, and I made the mistake. I did get it a bit. I made the mistake of commenting on a Katie Hopkins post about the NHS and the abuse I got for days and days and days through that. It's just toxic. I think my advice to you is that these people hide behind the platforms that they're on. You just wash it off your back, mate.
Well, you say that, but I saw him yesterday. I saw him.
Maybe not.
So I was like, "What are you doing? What are you actually doing, you dickhead?" Yeah. There you go. So I use the word dickhead, but dickhead and knobhead you can use in all minds because it's all PK in it, so that kind of thing. And then I was at the game. Some drunk bloke, who I don't really know that well, some drunk bloke saw me on the scooter. He just came up to me, just grabbed my seat and was going like this on my seat. I was like, "What are you doing?" Oh God, Jesus Christ! So
it's hard as a celebrity, mate.
Mate, listen, you've got these kids screaming at the paedophiles trying to get in the ground. I've got someone to my scooter like that. Bloody hell. I mean, what's going on there? It's like, do you know what? I'll give you a great example of what that's like. Someone grabbing your scooter like that, you might think, "Oh, that's a bit of fun or whatever." It's like someone kicking your ankles. That's what it's like. It's absolutely like that. But there you go. Nick, you must have had this a bit before, surely, especially at the football games when you played.
Most people are up to my ankles.
Okay.
So I'm well versed in that, but no, generally I think I get the classic, don't I, about the height. That's my go-to. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's like my memorable thing, I suppose. For me, that's what people remember me by. But no, generally the vibe when I go to games is generally pretty nice, and
I was going to say that
pretty friendly.
Yeah, no,
I think very not pretty friendly. very friendly, and actually it's added to my match day experience this year. A lot of the nice comments and being introduced to people and all that stuff. Like, it's only a small thing, like we're a small football club at the end of the day, but it's just nice, and it's a familiarity thing, and I think that's one of the real sort of soft benefits, I'd say, of being like a non-league football fan or a local, supporting your local team, is that you see these people every other week or every week at games, and you sort of get to say hello to people, and there's just that familiarity that you don't get when you're in a big city or you're supporting a big football club. I went to Wembley in the week and massively enjoyed the game, but it's just a completely different experience going to those bigger games, those more national or Premier League style level games. And so no, generally this podcast has probably helped my kind of feeling at the ground. Not that it was ever bad anyway, but I've personally had some positive experiences with it that have definitely enhanced my season as a fan, I would say.
I've also put my notes, but had some lovely chats about the podcast, because that's true. Do you know what, it's really weird, because every time I go, I think there'll be no one else. And then with 3 people yesterday I'd never met before. So even to Craig, Craig is John's friend. Craig Lewis, I think it is, John.
Craig, possibly Craig Littleton.
No, I don't know, but he had his brother with him yesterday, who stood at the front with me. Well, he stood opposite me, actually. So it was Craig. It was John. John was lovely, chatting about the podcast. He listens on a Monday. John, I always find it quite interesting to see when people listen as well, if they listen live or if they listen, the next day or next couple of days or whatever. And Clive as well. Great chat to Clive too. So yeah, I
know some Spotify listeners actually that much prefer to have it on Spotify than joining live on the YouTube.
I won't take personal offence at that, John, and neither should any of the lads on this podcast, that people prefer to listen to us versus look at us.
What made me laugh earlier, Nick, was the person who confused you and I, being, if you're wondering which one's which, I'm the one not only with glasses, but I'm a foot and a half shorter than Nick and 2 foot wider. So
basically, we're the same. We're like twins in a way.
Yeah. It very much is like the film Twins, actually. What I'd say is, and again, yesterday, someone came up to me who greeted me like an old friend and like, "Oh, hello, John, nice to see you." And I thought, I'm pretty sure I've never met you. And then he went, "Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot. I haven't spoken to you before. Like, I listened to the podcast." I mean, first of all, what's on the social media thing is you're never going to please all of the people all the time.
No,
and that just, there's people, and I actually think it's a good thing that there's people who disagree with what we're saying. And I when we first started this podcast, I got criticism from people saying that we suck up to the club too much. And then I'd turn around and get criticism from, that sounds like I've got 2 people standing either side of me. It wasn't like that. But you turn around and get criticism.
Is it you in the bed with another John?
Yeah. who'd say, "Oh, you're too anti the club." So people have different perspectives on what we say. What I'd say is not up for debate is why we do this podcast. No one here is trying to extend their platform or anything like that. If we were trying to do that, there's much easier and better ways to do that. We'd all be starting a non-league OnlyFans. But what I think has been great this season.
That's spoiled my any other business, John. Thanks. Spoiled. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
I don't think that the Kidderminster Harriers fan base has ever been in such a position where there's been so much conversation, whether that be in the arms, in the stands, online, whatever it may be, whatever league we've been in, even when we were in League Two, I don't think there's been this much conversation around the club. And I don't think people have connected so well as they have now. And when we talk outside of the podcast, we're not, we are all friends outside of this as well.
Imagine if you weren't though, John. Imagine if you weren't.
It's like we go offline and then Dan just turns around.
That's it.
This is his wife. Oh, I've had to put up with that John again. But yeah, but we're all fans of the team. We're all fans of the club. We're all fans of the town, and we all want Harriers to do well. But most importantly, we want the people to enjoy the game, enjoy talking about the game, and connect with each other, because as much as we all love watching football, I'm sure we all enjoy talking about it too. And that's why we're here, to try and encourage that. And that's why I'm here. So hopefully people get that and get that's our motivation for doing it. And if they don't, which some people won't, then that's really up to them.
And they can just walk on. And you can go to another non-league North podcast that's inferior because we're the best. Phil Banner says, how many people you banned for podcast where's out of interest? Now, that's a good one, Phil. 2, and I can't remember what the kid's name was. Cowley? What was his name?
Josh Cowley.
That was
Jason
him,
Cowley. Sorry. I thought
He
you were
was
about the
Josh,
footballer.
Not the footballer, no. We'd ban him, although, maybe. No. Was that his name? Josh?
Don't ban him. We want to sign him. Don't ban him.
Well, you never know. Him, and there's been a couple of other people. It's just, it's just for fun. It is for fun, absolutely. And one of the things I like about Harry's in general is trying to buy old shirts. I love that. And then yesterday, unbeknownst to me, it was retro shirt day. I should have known this. And the retro shirts, I was like, look at them going, you bought that from eBay? That's definitely from Vinted. I'm not sure where that from, that kind of thing, but that was fun, man. That was good. I enjoyed that an awful lot. Got some comments going. So when you have the comment on screen, it cuts off Nick's face. That might be a good thing, though, says Liam KHFC. Oh,
it's close to being banned.
Oh, it's close to it now. I like Liam. I like Liam, that's true.
I know Liam, that's fine.
That's fine. He also said, he also said this as well. I'm always in awe of Nick when I see him in person. # Rolex.
I feel like that's an in-joke.
That is an in-joke. I don't think we're getting it. So it's the Kieran Donnelly Fans Podcast, episode 61. You're signing, man.
Do we rest him next week?
Shut up. Are you kidding me?
Against South Shields, it's a
dude,
nothing
he's
game
the top scorer in the league in 8 games. It's ridiculous.
And that's a whole conversation topic
for the playoffs.
It's a whole conversation topic all about next Saturday in the playoffs. That's got to be a section, surely, Wes, at some stage, whether it be now or next week. It can't be next week. The game's been played.
Yeah, we've got 7 minutes left. I assume we better cover it tonight. So
as long as you like, mate, to be honest, it's fine. Sorry, Dan, for saying shut up, mate. I didn't mean it in that way. I love Kieran so much, mate. Honestly, I thought you were being horrible to him.
There was no
Where's
your band?
Listen, two things that are really important, Wes, for you to understand. One, players are not your friends.
Yeah, no.
Two, and this is the most important one, and we're all going to fall for it.
Yeah.
Never fall in love with a lone player.
So true.
I've gone.
He's in tears.
I'm done. I've gone, Nick. I've gone. By the way, yesterday I did meet. This is so random. There was the smallest little cute, like cockapoo, hairy dog thing that was trying to eat a leaf. And that reminds me an awful lot of Dan. I don't know why, Dan. So I thought that's cute. That's probably Dan in dog form. I would have thought.
Trying to eat a leaf.
He's trying to eat a leaf, but he tried really hard, Dan. That was the thing. He was really going for it, And I thought that's much like you would have thought.
And that reminded you of me.
Yeah, I thought that's Dan. That's Dan.
Tenacious. Is that what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you wanted to say. That's what it is. And it turns out it was Reese Devine's auntie's dog, and I was like, okay, this is a tenuous link. But there you go.
Not to interrupt the chat on family pets, but just on Dan's question.
Yeah, if we don't mind.
Dan's question. What?
Okay, so open question.
Yeah.
Sorry to hijack what you've just said, Dan. Saturday, do we A, rest players so we avoid injuries to key players to the playoffs, or B, go full strength so we can potentially have good momentum going into the playoff semi-final?
It's a big decision, isn't it?
Can't win either way.
This reminds me very much of what year was it when we were up against Mansfield, and was it 13?
Yeah,
14?
it was 100% that season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm loving these
Mansfield
comments.
went to Wrexham, but Wrexham were already in the playoffs, so they just rested all their teams, and I'm sure they put in the 14s out. And then we didn't win, and then we got booed out of the playoffs and stuff. But
The other side of this with resting, and this is probably a bit cynical, but if we don't rest players like Donnelly in particular, does he become a target man? If South Shields don't go up, knowing that they're into the playoffs, do they want to kick, potentially put an injury on Donnelly?
I think it's just the
sure he's out
classic
of the
scenario,
playoffs.
though, isn't it, Dan? I don't think that would happen because, and this was going to be part of my any other business, but I'll cover it off as we're now talking about it in a sec. But I think knowing the Harriers' luck, if we went strong, I'm not saying they'd target anybody because they're still in the race for the title and therefore automatic promotion, but it would just be so Harriers' luck to have a Donnelly or a Johnson or somebody that you feel is like irreplaceable to get an injury in a game that really means nothing whilst we're keeping them on for momentum. So you can't win either way because if you do that and that happens, we should have rested players. If you rest players and you lose 4-0, it's like, we've lost momentum, we've lost belief. It's a really, really difficult one. And I think the manager's job this week is going to be all around sort of setting that expectation with the players in advance so everybody knows what the plan is. And he's a meticulous planner by all accounts. So I'm sure he's covering off all those bases. We're not going to know either way at the end of the day, and rightly so. But the point I wanted to make on the South Shields sort of game next Saturday, I was going to cover it in any other business, but that 96-minute goal yesterday for South Shields could be the most positive thing from a Harriers perspective that could have happened, because if they hadn't have got that goal, to all intents and purposes, Fylde have won the division. They'd have had to lose to Merthyr and a 3+ goals turnaround, which is unlikely to happen. The fact that they've now got that goal means that defeat for Fylde and a victory for South Shields is enough. And they now have to play that game like that could realistically happen. They have to go all guns blazing to come and beat Harriers on Saturday. One of two things happen. They fail because Fylde win the game. They've put everything into that last game, just like what we had at Wes that you spoke about when it was the Kidderminster v Stockport game. And we had to go hell for leather, knowing that a defeat for Mansfield meant that we were going to win the league. We had to give it everything. We did. The following week, we then obviously lost. Psychologically, that's a huge dent. Similarly, if South Shields go and get that result and Fylde lose it, they've lost it on the final day. Either way, one of the top two will be coming into the playoffs. Psychologically, you would think at a disadvantage because of that 96-minute goal yesterday. So my question is, does that goal give us that psychological advantage going into the playoffs?
I think it's such a valid point. I love a bit of armchair psychology, and that is such a valid point. And not only that, you mentioned in a message yesterday about the stars aligning, I think was your exact comment, and also from the other end as well. When you look at Macclesfield were probably the informed team coming into this last stretch, and they have just dropped away over the last few weeks. And that result for them yesterday, and I use the term we won third place because ultimately we weren't ever going in for second and first, and we haven't been really anywhere near that for the last month. But third place was the target, and it was Macclesfield that we were fighting that out with. And the fact that psychologically we have beaten them to third place also then means, well, they've now got an extra game to play. If they do get to the playoff final and it's against us, then it's an away tie. Like, there's so much from the other side of that coin as well, that Macclesfield being probably the big team coming into the playoffs, other than the likes of South Shields or Fylde. It's a big blow psychologically for them as well. They're now having to sort of pick themselves up and ready themselves for an extra game instead of having that that kind of week to rest and week to prepare. So
because South Shields would, if they hadn't have scored yesterday, they would have pretty much known that
exactly,
that
and they
was over. They've got the time to sort of get over it.
Exactly,
whereas they won't have now. And appreciate, look, there's going to be other teams in the mix that, you know, South Shields and Fylde, we absolutely, someone's put a comment on that we have to win the semi-final. We absolutely need to win the semi-final.
Yeah,
also,
I totally agree with that, Gary.
But if you look at certainly that top three teams outside of us, to your point, Dan, there's some psychological advantages there, which means that it could end up being 5th, 6th, or 7th as well as us being in the mix. You never know, do you? But I just thought it really changes the mindset, I think, for South Shields on Saturday versus had they have not scored. I think it's just a different frame of mind. So yeah, I guess let's see what they bring on Saturday.
Chester, I don't like.
Five wins out of 5. They are the ones to watch for sure.
So there's
a
table.
Fair point there.
So come like 4:45 next Saturday, what is that table going to look like? What do you reckon?
12:30 kickoff, early game. Just worth actually noting that as well, that it's an early kickoff for the final game of the season. So nobody rock up to Agborough at 3 o'clock or you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, we won.
I've always gone for South Shields, although I did actually go for the prediction was AFC Fylde at the start of the season. That's the team I went with. But throughout the season, I think it's because I want South Shields to win the league over Fylde personally. And look, it's Fylde's to lose now, but interestingly, Fylde are away at Merthyr Town, and Merthyr need a result for playoffs. That game could be any scoreline. Like both teams score loads of goals, so that could be anything. That final game. So so South Shields have got us away, and Fylde have got Merthyr away, and all teams are playing. Well, those two teams are playing for something. But of course, it would mean Harry's having to lose to South Shields for them to win it.
So the playoffs, the Spenny can get into the playoffs if they win 17-0, I think. Darlington can sneak in from 9th. They really can. I mean, stranger things have happened, but they can sneak in from 9th. They can do that. Merthyr, as you talked about, and you got Bucks in there as well.
I still stand by my prediction at the start of the season, and I'm still convinced Kings Lynn can win this. So
is that who you went with at the start of the season, Dan? Was that your prediction?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, King Lynn, wasn't it? So
yes, Dan. Yes, mate.
My prediction was Macclesfield at the start of the season. So slightly closer than Dan's, but I think that prediction was before Robbie Savage left. So
yeah,
I think if he was still there, we'd be looking at a very different table now. But
who did you go for, Wes?
So I went for Harriers to win it, I think. But that was before we signed a load of non-league South players. Then forgot to play football, and they didn't realise what was going on until December. So that's my caveat to get out of that one. But do you know what? If we get 87 points, that's 2 points less than we got last season, and we were top of the league until last game of the season. So
yeah, those top two teams have been levels above.
They've been immense,
season,
haven't they?
Do you know what?
Over the season.
You didn't see it, but we had Darren on earlier, didn't we, John? Who's a South Shields fan, massive South Shields fan. And he said at the beginning of the season, he thought they'd finish 10th. And he said if we got 9th or above, we'd be happy with that. So there you go. So that's what he's thinking.
Big question from Carl in the comments. Carl, so Vox.
Oh, there's Carl. Here he is.
Is anyone other than Obi getting player of the season? Great question.
Are we allowed to reveal our votes? Who we voted for?
Kieran.
Question is, Dan, do you want to?
Well, I guess it was quite a loaded question in that. Yes, I sort of do want to.
Oh no, because you want to.
Are you going to tell everyone you voted for Reece Hall, Dan?
Of course he is. No, I actually went for Adigon, but he's gone. So
yeah.
Joe Folks will win it 1,000,000%. I'd be gobsmacked if Joe Folks doesn't win it. He's such a fan's favourite. Yeah. It's just,
And he's been great, but Obi has
consistent.
I mean, come on. like the way that he's not only marshaled the defense, he's won far more headers and 50-50s than he has right to, even at his height. He's driven forward. He's
scored goals.
He not only scored goals but also assisted a couple as a centre half. He's our second top scorer. You know, there's for me, Joe Folks has been fantastic. I think there's a few players in the squad who have probably had seasons they can rightly be proud of, but I can't see an argument against Obi winning it. I absolutely can't.
I totally agree with that. I did vote for Obi. Sorry, Joe. I voted for him because he's done it at both ends of the pitch. Exactly that. He's put the ball in the back of the net, and he's been Mr. Consistent. You know, Dibble's always been, up until this period, the first name on the team sheet, and then, you know, is it Joe or is it Obi? And I don't know. I think to be honest,
there's been other names that I've had people around me sort of mentioned. Obi has been the main one, to be fair, but Riley Reynolds has been on the lips of some fans. Obviously, Joe Folks go start saying it, and I would have no issues if Joe Folks gets it, because it's just great, isn't he? He's a fantastic player, and he's a player above this level. But I did also vote for Obi for similar reasons. The amount of games I've been to and thought, Christ, if he wasn't playing, we would have lost that game. And I know he's had mistakes in him, and he's cost us points as well. But I think to see where he started in that pre-season friendly against maybe Hales Owen or Solihull, he did not look a great signing at all. To think it's the same player is actually quite mind-boggling, to be honest. So I think he's gone on a really good growth trajectory in terms of his performance levels, and I see him as a bit of an asset for us, to be honest. If we've got him tied down to a contract, which I believe we have, I think he's an asset. But Riley Reynolds was another name mentioned. I've had Charlie Cooper. His name's been mentioned in the East Stand with people around me. Did I say Owen Evans?
No, I said Owen Evans.
Yeah, he's another one that's been banded around.
That first game, Nick, was Droitwich, the first game that you played.
I was at that game, but I don't really remember. It was a game at Agborough, and I was at the main stand.
Does anyone remember Guy Gomer, the bloke who accidentally walked into the BBC interview and supposedly an expert on something? I thought it was a Guy Gomer situation. I'm like, has this guy just been driving past and someone mistaken identity and someone thinks he's a footballer? Like, and yet now we're in a position where we're talking about him being not only the best player in the team, but really one of the best players in the league. If he's not centre half in the National League North team of the season, then you know it's not worth the paper it's printed on.
The one last thing on Obi, I'm conscious we've probably got to move on, that I will say as well, he's played pretty much every minute of every game. Like, he's been fit. I don't think he's missed a game through injury. He might have been dropped a couple of times, maybe.
Absolutely.
But if you look at minutes played, certainly now with Dibble being injured, he's got to be right up there this season as also having played a lot of games. And at this level in football, being fit and available is another added strength to you as a footballer, and he ticks that box also. So yeah, people will say, I've not looked at the comments, but I guarantee he's made mistakes. He's always got errors in him. Well, yeah, he plays National League North football, and even in the National League, you know, that's gonna happen. But he's still young. He's played loads of games. He's had one promotion. Let's hope he can get us promoted on his CV.
Right, so let's do some any other business. Right, the first one I want to talk about is Nick Hatton's interview he did. Everywhere We Go Kitty on Massive podcast. Brilliant. It's great to have Nick. He spoke to Phil Brown. And you know what? I'm so glad he did it, because people were asking me, like, where's we going to speak to Phil Brown? I was like, I don't know how to, but Nick knows how to. He asked us some great questions. If you've not seen it, please, love God, go and watch it, because Phil's just Phil. And Phil's just Phil. He didn't look at you. He looks through you. That's what Phil does. So, yeah, go and do that. Also, yesterday was, That's the game of the season for many people. Any ideas where these people are?
Notts County?
No.
Oh,
No.
no.
Anymore?
We've
It
been
was
there.
Spennymoor.
We've been
It
there
was
this
Spennymoor.
season.
We have John, and it was horrendous.
Merthyr?
We lost 5-1.
Maxfield.
Spennymoor at Macclesfield. Not only they won 2, they won 2-0 because they got all the superheroes there. I mean, God, that's crazy. Right, and my last bit of any of the business, because I thought this was incredible. This is all about Gloucester. Okay, now we don't really talk about Gloucester very much on here, but you've got to see this to believe it. So Gloucester fans were told if they wanted more than 300 tickets sold out allocation, they'd have to provide their own stewards. So the fans came dressed as stewards. And some of them had walkie-talkies.
That's amazing.
That's
so
worth
good.
a laugh. That is worth a laugh. So any of the business done for me. Right. Dan, any of the business, mate?
Can you go to someone else? Because there's something that I can't remember what I wanted to say, and it was really important. I'll come back to me, please.
Sorry. All right, sorry. Yeah, John, Dan's basically just quit the podcast. So he can't do any of the business. So, John, if you've got anything, please let me know. Because Nick's already done this.
Just a very quick one from me, which is basically like, well done and congratulations to the lads, because it was only 3 or 4 weeks ago that I asked the question on this podcast: is third still realistic, or are we looking at fourth now? And we've been on a good run, but that's because of the togetherness and the effort and the mentality of the lads. So for giving us one less game and a bit more hope of going up, just think all the lads should be proud of themselves for what they've done over the last couple of weeks.
With those injuries as well, insane, really. Like, I don't think anybody would have predicted that. The likes of Dibble and Folks being out, I think most people thought, crikey, this is going to be... I thought
that was the season done, yeah.
Yeah, so to have pulled that out is testament to, like you say, John, testament to the management team and everyone involved, really, because that is... I don't think many would have thought that, to be fair.
Right, okay, so... Dan Mees, have you remembered?
Do you know what? I can't remember what it was. There is one thing I did want to say. It's not football related, but... two of the biggest fans of this podcast. Oh, I do remember. Two of the biggest fans of this podcast is my mum and dad, and they've been legends today. So, mum and dad, thank you so much for all your help today with that.
Hang on. Stop talking. Hang on. Say that again, Dan. Say that again.
So, big up to my mum and dad for all their help today. So, big applause if you can. And my mum cooked a beautiful lasagna as well.
Yeah, by the way, we didn't get lasagna at all. We didn't get lasagna at all. So
the second,
where's our lasagna, Mrs. Mees? Where's our lasagna?
What are you doing? Look at this content. Taking us all in. No lasagna.
The other thing I wanted to raise is it's sort of based on a point that Nick made earlier on the fact that we get so many good comments at games, so many people coming up to us and chatting with us, chatting Harry's, chatting football. But I sort of want to put out an apology, because one of the things I struggle with is faces and names. And there's a lot of people who I talk to and I know that I know them, but I can't remember their names and things like that. So guys, if I do call you the wrong name, or if I do seem like I'm not quite remembering who you are, I'm really sorry. It is something I do really struggle with in my day-to-day. So I do apologise. There was a chap I was talking to at the Kings Lynn game, and he was literally on the same row as me, and we were having such a good natter. And I think I called him Phil at one point, and I'm not sure that was his name. And whoever you are, dude, keep talking to me and just tell me what your name is when I see you next. But yeah, it's been a fantastic season, Wes, and thank you so much for getting us involved in this. It's been great.
Okay, so what I'm going to say there, Dan, firstly, the season's not over, so shut your mouth. I mean that then. I mean that one. Secondly, you've made this whole podcast, right? Me, John, and Nick, you made it all about you there, mate. I forgot everyone's name. All about
the
Dan.
end of the business,
Dan Mees. I get so many fans talking to me. Oh, they want autographs, but I'm like, what's your name again? What's your name again? Shut up, Dan. Shut up. No, I love it, Dan. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Nick, listen, I'm not sure if you got, because any of the business is always at the end, and you just went in there, you went gong ho. I wonder, have you got anything left, Nick?
I've got one last any of the business. Thanks, Wes. So the last one is a shout out. So my daughter plays for the Wolverley Swans football team, and they won their cup final yesterday for the second time in a row, beating Gornal. So I just want to say a massive shout out Massive shout out to Mags, Aid, Athena, Eva, Edie, Belle, Izzy, Luana, Danny Lee, Ellie, Mara, and of course, my Sienna. So we're all super proud of them and that group. So yeah, made the weekend, to be fair, especially with the Harriers winning as well. So yeah, wanted to give them a special shout out for the achievement this week.
There you go. Well,
amazing. Well done,
do you
guys.
know what? Yeah, amazing, Nick. That was
Cheers.
Stuff. Thank you so much for that. The thing was, tonight's episode was it was a strange one and sort, because I wanted to add a bit of an interview with an away fan who's come in. If you haven't seen that, please go and check it out. Darren was nice, wasn't he, John?
Yeah, brilliant bloke. Clearly very passionate about South Shields. Really good knowledge of football and his club. And yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to him. That's one of the things I've enjoyed as well. And we should probably try and do it a little bit more.
Yeah,
although there's only one league game left, is when we've talked to away fans. And I know I talked about connecting Harriers fans, but we're all also non-league football fans, and having those conversations just about what we've got in common and just having a chinwag about the thing that we love, which is our team and non-league football, is great.
There you go. So yeah, so if you haven't seen it, please watch it back if you can. So 1 hour, 46-minute, guys. Well, not for you, Nick, not for you, Dan, but for me and John, and John's not had one beer at all. So thank you so much, John Smith. I appreciate that. Thank you. Dan Meads is bored in his loft. If you put any skeletons up there, Dan, we'll see. But thank you, Dan. It's all about Dan. It's all about Dan. It's true. And what it should be all about is Nick. Hello, Nick. Thank you so much. And well done again to Sienna and the team. I've been Wes. It's been great having you on. Do you know what? We've had a constant stream of 50 plus people in for the last hour, which has been incredible. So give yourself a round of applause as well, please. And when the gong goes, that is Kieran Donnelly Fans Podcast, episode 61. Just sign him, Richard Lane. Just sign him. Just sign him, please. Thank you. There we go. Have yourself a great rest of the evening. Have a great week. And we're back next Sunday. And we'll answer all the questions about selection and stuff like that. Thank you so much. See you later, guys. Thank you. See you.